It's late, the day is finally slowing down, and you're standing in the kitchen and you're not even sure what you're looking for, but the pantry door is open anyway. Earlier today, you said, I'm going to restart. You're handling life, you're making good choices, and now you're thinking, almost annoyed with yourself, why do I always get like this at night? Welcome back to The War Within. I'm Dr. Brian Samuel. Quick reminder before we jump in, this is educational, not personal medical advice. I can help you understand patterns in physiology, but your own clinician might know you better if they actually listen to you. In the last episode, we ended with a line that can feel uncomfortable at first. What if nothing is wrong with you? What if your body isn't broken? What if it's just responding? Today, I want to aim that same lens at the word people beat themselves up the most, or you maybe hear from a loved one. Willpower, or you have no willpower. I can't tell you how many times I hear that in clinic, even in my own home, when my dad tells my mom, where's your willpower? Doc, I just need to be more disciplined. I know what to do. I just don't know how to do it. If I could just stay consistent, and I get why people say it, when you keep repeating a pattern you don't like, your brain looks for a simple explanation. Willpower becomes the easiest answer. It also becomes the painful answer because after a while, it stops being about food. It starts being about who you are. It's kind of like a personal attack, like you're missing something other adults seem to not have. Here's what I want you to hear in plain language. Willpower isn't a personality trait. It's not a proof of character. It's a resource. Think of it like the phone battery we talked about last episode. You start your day with a certain amount and life drains it. Some mornings you wake up with 90%. Some mornings you wake up with 18% because your kid showed up and your mind was racing, you had a late shift, or you slept, but it wasn't real sleep. Either way, you don't get unlimited power and you don't get what you want all the time. Like this morning, I thought I had more battery in my phone, but I was busy with my son Adam. And the most unfair part is that most people expect their strongest food decisions at the exact time their battery is at the lowest point. If you live in America right now, your brain is working overtime. Before you get even to your lunchtime, you've already made a ridiculous number of decisions. You check your phone, you answer your text, you decide what to wear, you decide what everybody else is eating, you drive, you solve problems, you shallow frustration, you make money decisions, you manage people, even your job is physical. Your brain is still running tabs in the background all day long, like a computer with 15 different open windows. And one of them is always playing a video you didn't even ask for. By the time evening hits, you're not the same person you were at 8 a.m. That's not weakness, that's being human. Let me give you simple science without any fancy words. The part of your brain that helps you pause, plan, and think long term sits right behind your forehead. It's the hold up, let me think part. It's the part that can notice the moment before you react. The part runs best when you're rested, when your stress is lower, when you've had steady fuel. When you're tired, stressed, underfed and overloaded, that part gets quieter. Meanwhile, the part of your brain that wants fast comfort gets louder. It's not because you suddenly became a different person, it's because your brain is trying to solve the problem really quickly. How do I feel better in this moment, temporarily? So when you tell yourself, I was so good all day and then I lost it at night, I want you to translate that into something more accurate. I ran out of capacity, out of battery. Capacity is your ability to handle stress, make choices, and stay steady. Capacity is not the same thing as motivation. You can be highly motivated and still run out of capacity by 6:30. You can love your family and still feel maxed out. You can care deeply about your health and still have a night where you eat like you've never seen food before. That's not because you don't care, that's because your system is very tired. This is one of those, oh, that's me moments for a lot of people. You can be the most responsible person in the room all day. You can lead a team. You can take care of other people. You can keep everything moving. And then later, alone in the kitchen, you're eating, standing up, telling yourself, I'll clean it up tomorrow. That doesn't mean you're weak. It means you spent all your capacity on everything else. Now add sleep to that picture because sleep is a quiet driver behind so many patterns people blame on willpower. When you don't sleep enough, your brain doesn't just feel tired, it changes how it works completely. The part that helps you hit the brakes gets less active. The part that lights up for reward gets more sensitive. In normal human words, food looks better, cravings get stronger, and saying no feels like a bigger lift. On top of that, hunger chemistry shifts. You'll hear me mention two hormones a lot on this show because they matter and they're simple to understand. Ghrelin is like a hunger alarm. It tends to rise when sleep is short and when meals are inconsistent. Studies say less than 5 hours, it increases. Leptin is one of those signals that helps your brain feel like I'm satisfied. When sleep is short, leptin signaling gets weaker for a lot of people. So you can eat the same meal, but it doesn't feel the same way as it did yesterday or the day before. You feel hungrier and less satisfied, and then you blame yourself for not being in control. That's not a character issue. That's your body responding to sleep debt. Then stress steps in and turns up the volume again. When stress stays high, cortisol often rises. Like I mentioned before, cortisol isn't evil, it's a survival hormone. It helps you get up, it helps you respond, it helps you push through. But when it's up all day for days, your body starts acting like it needs quick fuel and quick comfort. The cravings when you run on empty are things that work fast. They crave things that feel certain. Relief food. Here's another layer most people never get told in a simple way. Your gut sends messages to your brain. Hormones like GLP-1 and peptide YY helps you feel satisfied after you eat. Those signals tend to work better when your meals are steady and balanced, especially when you get enough protein and fiber. When meals are skipped, rushed, or mostly processed, those fullness signals can feel weaker. That means you can eat and still feel like, why do I want more? It's not just willpower, it's sleep, it's stress, it's timing, it's fuel. It's a nervous system that's been running hot all day and a brain that wants the quickest way to come down. And I want to say this gently because I've lived it too. A lot of people are trying to run their life on caffeine and grit, and then they're shocked when their body wants relief at night. I'm not an anti coffee drinker. I'm a physician, not no superhero. So, yes, I've drank coffee all my life. But coffee is not food. And coffee on an empty stomach while you're rushing through the morning is like driving across town without putting gas in your car. We'll make it for a while, then you'll be running on fumes. And when the low fuel light turns on, you're not going to calmly pick up the best gas station with the cleanest bathrooms and the lowest price. You're going to take the first option you see. That's what your brain does when you feel like you're underfueled and exhausted. It grabs what's close, what's fast, what's reliable. A lot of people tell me I can have anything in the morning for breakfast, but they have coffee every morning, so just throw a shake in there. That moment at night, the drive through, the snacks, I'll just have a little. That turns into a lot. That moment is often your body paying a bill that started earlier in the day. This is also why strict plans feel like it's too much work. A strict plan asks a stressed nervous system to be calm, a depleted body to ignore hunger signals. And then, when you can't do it, you assume you're the problem. So let's get practical without turning this into a big plan you can't keep. I'm going to give you a few steady moves, not rules, not perfection, just moves that protect your capacity. The first move is to stop making tomorrow's body pay for tonight's guilt. If you had a rough night, don't wake up and punish yourself by skipping breakfast, which I've done all my life. That turns your whole day into a debt cycle. Start the day with something real, especially protein, so your body and your brain starts the day with fuel, not desperation. If you need simple things, think of eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, a protein shake, leftover meat, beans, whatever works for your culture and budget. The goal isn't to be fancy. The goal is to keep it simple and steady. The second move is to build an afternoon bridge. For most people, the danger zone is late afternoon into evening. That's when capacity drops the most, hunger rises, and life gets loud. The bridge is just a small, real snack that keeps you from crashing. It's not diet food, it's maintenance. You have to eat when you're not hungry, because I just told you there's signals. Things like yogurt, a cheese stick, nuts, fruits with peanut butter, leftovers, a protein bar, if that's all you got. Even just something simple and consistent can change the entire mood of your evening because your brain isn't trying to solve hunger and stress at the same time. The third move is to lower the number of food decisions you have to make when you're tired. People think discipline is making the best choice over and over again. In real life, discipline is having fewer choices to fight against. This is where routine helps without being rigid. Have 2 or 3 lunches you can repeat. Have a simple dinner you can fall back on. Not because you're boring, because you're protecting your brain. Defaults into kindness when the day is chaotic. Here's a dinner structure that works for a lot of people because it's simple. Pick a protein, add a color, add a carb if you want, and add something that makes it taste good. Protein could be chicken, fish, turkey, eggs, beans, tofu, whatever you actually eat in your culture. Color is vegetables or fruit. Carbs can be rice, potatoes, pasta, whatever fits your lifestyle. Meals like that tend to keep your hunger calmer later, and they help those fullness signals like GLP and peptide YY. Now let's talk about the actual moment when things go sideways. The moment you're standing in the kitchen, tired, and your brain is bargaining with you again. Most people try to win that moment with willpower. I want you to win it with a pause. Before you decide, drink a glass of water, take 10 slow breaths. That's it. Not because you're trying to do anything spiritual, not because breathing is magic. It's because dehydration makes fatigue louder, and slow breathing helps your nervous system downshift enough for the thinking brain to come back online. You're not trying to become a different person. You're just giving your brain 10 seconds to rejoin the conversation. After that pause, ask one clean question. Am I actually hungry or am I depleted? Sometimes the answer is hunger. Great. Get a real snack. Eat dinner. Sit down. Let it count. Sometimes the answer is depletion. Tired, stressed, overwhelmed, lonely, overstimulated. In that case, food might still happen. But now you add the thing you actually need to do. Sit down, step outside for 2 minutes, get off the phone, take a shower, talk to someone, go to bed earlier. Something that refuels your day, your mind, not just your stomach. This is what I mean when I say self trust. Self trust isn't perfection, it's understanding your patterns. It's noticing that a bad night often started at 8 a.m. with no breakfast, high stress, and running on fumes. When you see that setup, you stop making the night a personal failure story. A lot of people think they're failing because they can't stay strict, but strict is not the same thing as steady. Strict is fragile, it breaks the second real life shows up. When you build steady habits, you're not relying on willpower as your main engine. You're using rhythm, routine, you're using repeatable basics, and the body tends to respond to that. Hunger calms down, cravings soften, you feel more like yourself. I've watched this happen over and over with my patients who swear they had no discipline. They start eating a real first meal. They start adding afternoon bridge. They simplify their dinner. They protect sleep more. And a couple weeks later, they say, I'm not thinking about food as much. That's not magic. That's biology. Now, I'm not going to oversell this like a commercial. Life is still life. You're still going to have nights that aren't perfect. You're still going to have weekends that get away from you. That's normal. The goal is not to become like a robot. The goal is to stop taking those moments as proof that you're broken. Because if you treat every hard night like a character flaw, you keep living in a fight with yourself, and fighting yourself is exhausting. There's one more piece that connects directly to where we're going next. Even when your capacity is low and your brain is tired, one signal keeps showing up strong: hunger, real hunger. And a lot of people have been taught to fear hunger like it's a threat. They try to overpower, they try to shrink it. They try to act like hunger means they're doing something wrong. But hunger itself isn't the problem. What usually turns hunger into chaos is shame, the meaning we attach to it, the panic, the self talk, the fear that if you let hunger exist, you'll lose control. That's what I want to separate for you. Because once you separate those two things, you stop spiraling. In episode 4, we're going to talk about hunger like the normal alarm system it is. And we're going to talk about how shame hijacks that alarm and turns it into a fight. If you've been living in that fight for years, that conversation is going to land in your mind a different way. I'll see you in the next episode.